Welcome back to the chaos. So we've actually made it down here to South Carolina. It's Carolina Motorsports Park. We're going to be hitting up the racetrack today for the first time. Like Paul and I both have done kind of like taste of the track, little parade laps, whatever you want to call it, before up at VIR. But this is a brand new track to both of us. But it's kind of neat because we both have 2008s. He's got the 2008 Mustang GT, and then I've got the 2008 350Z. So it's a battle of the mid-2000s.
It should be a fun day. We're going to be riding with an instructor, kind of get a feel for racetrack etiquette, and hopefully we'll learn a thing or two beyond what we already know from our extensive video gaming experience.
That's right. We'll put our Gran Turismo skills to use today. So as long as neither one of us goes off track, we'll call it a success. But hopefully we'll get a little bet going today. I don't know what good lap times are, and I'm hoping they'll kind of keep track of them throughout the day. I don't know how it works since it is like a, what, HPDE? High performance driving education school class. So we'll see how it goes, but maybe loser boss dinner.
Deal.
Works. So we're gonna pack up, hit the road, update at the track. We've made it to Carolina Motorsports Park. We've actually been here for probably a couple hours now. We've hit our first classroom session, and we did some sight laps to begin with, and then we've actually done our first track session. And I think hands down Paul's the better driver. I mean, he's out there crushing it. I saw him in the rear view at the very end, and I don't know how far back he started, but he was way back there and caught up. But absolute blast. Honestly, I'm super nervous. I don't know, I'm just trying to get my bearings, just making sure I'm trying to like hit my lines and everything like that, but it is terrifying a little bit.
Like, instructors are great though. They're giving great pointers, giving you confidence. Definitely great experience.
We just finished up classroom session number 2, and they've actually told us to set a goal for this track session. So what was your goal?
I'm gonna try and hit my apexes a little bit later because I'm gravitating towards them a little bit too soon.
And then my goal, there's a part of the track, I think it's called the kink, and I lift so much during that process that it unsettles the car. So you actually want to stay in the gas. But I mean, it's just me being scared of, I don't want to run off the track or anything. So like, that's my goal this time, is just to stay flat out in that kink section. really spun, so hopefully we got that out of the way. But mine apparently was a little worse. Like, I was hauling down the, I guess this is the front stretch.
Yeah.
Front stretch past like the checker flag, past the tower, and I was coming in because I did so well on this last turn that I was carrying more speed. I was at the top third, I mean, hauling. And so then I had been braking at the number 3 marker. That was kind of like my focus zone was, all right, start braking at number 3 and then turn in. Well, because I was carrying so much speed, I needed to brake sooner, but I've never been at the top of third like that. So my braking zone needed to change, but I still was braking as though I was like 20 to 25 miles an hour slower, but I was faster. So then my braking zone was messed up. And I was still trying to carry my same line, and the back end just lost it. It was gone.
Mine wasn't nearly as bad. I was coming off the last long straight in the turn 11. I was carrying too much speed, and then because I was carrying too much speed, my line ended up being way off. And that's a sharp corner, so you got to go in appropriately. I definitely did. And my back end, I didn't like slide out, but I kissed enough of the grass with half the car to where it was like, oh God, I thought I was gonna like.
So
totally
did you feel the rear end get light and it started stepping out?
Yeah.
And is that then your car caught just a touch of the grass, and then how far sideways did you go?
It was enough to where I was coming off the corner to where my whole half of the car went off, and I counter steered just a touch to keep it from spinning, and I kept it straight and rolled right back on.
So like probably like a 45-degree angle or so?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, enough to kind of point you in the wrong direction, like drifting a little bit, grass drifting.
Yeah, enough to learn not to do that again on the subsequent laps.
But I feel like I was definitely faster that go round, a lot smoother, because that was one of the things that I was having a problem with was, I don't know, I was just being really choppy with the throttle, and then not so much with the brake. Like I feel like I was a lot smoother rolling in the corners and stuff with my brake. Mm-hmm. But when I would go to, instead of, it's like a motorcycle, you're supposed to be, real easy onto the throttle. I kind of wanted to just stab it. Yeah. And so then, I'd stab it, and then in my head, I'm like, crap, I'm not supposed to do that. So then I would kind of let out and then do it, then roll back into it. But it was leading to like a lot of bucking coming out of corners and everything. Yeah.
So you want a little bit more consistency, like a consistent throttle versus.
Because that was because he said, my goal was to go through that kink carry more speed through it where I didn't have to lift and brake, because you're not supposed to brake through there.
Right.
And so I did good on that. But his goal for me was, get rid of the chop. And so I did a much better job of, and it makes a huge difference, like, because the car wants, especially in like some of the curves, it naturally wants to roll, there's body roll to it. So when you're, if I'm rolling this way and then coming back on throttle, when you chop it, it kind of upsets the car, and it makes it, I don't know, you just feel your suspension tweak a little bit where it doesn't work.
Yeah, I had the throttle rolled down pretty well. I need to be smoother coming off my brakes, because I'll hit them hard and then I'll full lift, when instead I should be like lifting
easy, gradual
off a little bit.
Yeah.
But definitely faster. I hit 4th gear twice, especially going into the kink.
Are you running primarily like, where's in 3rd gear majority of the?
Yeah, vast majority of it.
When you shift to 4th on what, this front stretch, and then that one longer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, I backed off the throttle to keep it at the top of 3rd, because it's like I get to the very end.
That I feel like we're kind of, they must be geared pretty much the same, and like that was one nice part, is because you've had your car dyno.
Yeah.
And I think it put down what, 295?
It
was like, it was so close to 300, but I've never had this one on the dyno, but I feel like it's a little bit less. I was talking maybe 280 at the wheel or whatever. So gearing wise, power wise, I feel like we're very compatible. American muscle and Japanese muscle, but yeah, we're very, very almost identical cars from different countries. But yeah, so because I'm the same way, where it's like I might need to, especially if I come off of this turn really smoothly, it's almost I need to get to 4th.
Yep.
But I'm kind of just riding it out, just because it's like by the time I would shift to 4th, I would immediately have to be downshifting again to go into the turn.
Yep.
So I'm pretty much, and plus too, without me shifting, that's one less thing that I have to like concern myself with. So I'm just third gear the whole way around, and there's enough torque with an NA motor, you know, it pulls itself out pretty good. Like I don't have to be in the high RPMs for it to go.
Yep.
But we're learning. So that was session number 2, and it's a lot to take in. 3 to go. Yeah, it's just so much. Like your head is racing 100 miles an hour. The car is probably only going 80, but your head is fine. Quick update. I probably don't necessarily need gas. We've been through 2 sessions, and we filled up right before like we left the hotel this morning and drove, I think it was 20 miles to the track itself. But I've burned a quarter tank of gas. So I think Paul said he was between a half and 3/4, so he's burning it. Whereas I guess it makes sense. V8 it's guzzling gas a little more than this thing is, but he's also harder in it in the accelerator than I feel like I am. But just to play it safe, we got 3 more sessions to go. So we're gonna do a fuel run, top up, just that way, kind of peace of mind. You don't have to. That's one less thing you have to worry about. Don't have to worry about fuel starvation, anything like that. So gonna go top up and then head back to the track. But so far, couldn't ask for a better day. Like, gorgeous out. There's kind of some dark clouds looming overhead, but as of right now, just perfect day. Hot as can be. Trying to actually focus on like instrument clusters and like, you know, getting that feedback from the car. Like there's 2 good straightaways where they kind of want you to glance down and pay attention to your gauges, just make sure everything's good to go. It's very difficult to try to remember everything they're telling you to do, but looking at my gauges right now, everything seems to be okay. Brakes are doing fine, like we don't have any overheating issues, anything like that. So I don't think I'm pushing it past its limits or even close to the limits. So temperature wise, we're good. And this is probably about the hottest track day. I don't suspect. My goal is more so to do one in the spring, one in the fall. So if we don't have heating issues this go around, we should be in good shape. So we're gonna go gas up and then head back to the track. Paul needed 4.9 gallons and I only needed 3.5. So he's definitely burned a lot more than I have. first lap just because, like, you know, we're parking in, I mean, if you look, you can see, like, how much crap we're picking up. scrub the debris off or whatever. Don't go balls to the wall the first lap.
Yeah.
Just so that way, scrub your tires, and then that way you kind of see too, because since it is such a big track, he's like, sometimes it might have rained on this corner and not,
not like over here, yeah.
Like, so if you're balls to the wall thinking, oh, the whole track's dry, and then all of a sudden you get over to this other corner where it's only rain in that spot, he's like, then you get in trouble.
Then you get in trouble.
You're expecting it to be dry and it's not. So, yeah. Learning the car, but kind of controlling the out of control. Because like when you're in throttle and like the car would naturally, it just kind of naturally wants to like step out.
Yeah.
And I feel like in my head, mentally, I immediately just want to lift because I'm thinking, okay, like, you know, I'm about to lose control of the car. But then the car naturally just has like a momentum to it where if you just let it do its thing, stay with it, like trust the car, it'll do what you want it to do. And I mean, there's no way I'm going to push this car over its limit.
Right.
But it's just that mental hurdle, and then like it's just a very unnatural feeling.
Yep.
To feel it like start creeping on you, because then you're like,
because then you want to
oh, it's creeping.
correct it, yeah.
And yeah,
I think
it's a middle game.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to feel the heat of the day in the tires because they're definitely getting slick. Like I
can hear it squeal
around that corner over there. Yeah.
So if you do it again, would you do it like the driving education port, or would you go solo?
No, like I feel like I still am benefiting from having him in this passenger seat because he's still tweaking things, and like, you know, he was telling me like, okay, this is going from beginner to intermediate lesson now, so like go through this corner with a higher rate of speed. We're gonna adjust your braking points going to the kink.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually having to brake going into the kink now.
Were you at? Yeah, because you did pass me.
Yeah.
And so I think when you passed me, that's where I saw. You passed me right before that.
Yeah.
Like leading up to it, so I could see, like, there's that weird patch of asphalt.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think as soon as you hit that, you just blipped the brakes. I mean, they weren't on but a second, just enough to, I guess.
Yeah, so that's where he was having me start doing it, and then, like, the comp went out, so I couldn't hear anymore what he was saying. but I think what we're doing for the final go around is I'm going to do a slightly later brake tap into that.
Okay.
And then my braking points, he wants me to go later going into the corners.
Gotcha.
Which I've gone as late as I feel like I can in 11 over there. Like that, like especially with the tires squealing the way they are, like I'm getting a little too nervous about taking that, especially because of the one time where I went a little bit late and off the track.
I'm surprised because like they're asking, you know, like my pressures right now are at 40. So I would have thought, you know, like to bring them down some to prevent that, but he said no, that's fine. But I feel like because I'm getting a lot more squeal, but I mean it's also the heat of the day, so it's, I don't know how hot it is out here, but 90 plus degrees.
Too dang hot.
Yeah, too dang hot.
I only gained maybe like 2 or 3 psi between runs because I was only at about 34 this last week. Yeah.
Oh.
Huh. I'm really shocked by that because I mean mine pretty much stayed pretty consistent. Like
I was gonna say, hasn't yours like within like 5? Because did you start at 36?
I was trying to remember where I started. I think I started what, did we drop them this morning? I don't remember.
Yeah,
now.
this morning we dropped them to 28.
So I mean, from 28 to 40, that's a big jump. But I mean that's been gradual throughout the day. And so like I said, I mean this has been session number 4. So
well, yeah, at each run I'm lowering my pressure, going to I think I go down to like 31 before each run.
Yeah.
Or after each run rather, I lowered to 31 in anticipation of it going higher.
Right.
So I'm trying to keep like overall PSI in that 34 to 32 range.
Not too shabby. Everything's still holding up good.
Yeah, it's like I can definitely feel the heat is affecting not only the tires, but I think the brakes a little bit going into turns.
Is it more, you feel more squish in the pedal, or is it just you like what feedback?
It's kind of like it wants to bite. I'm getting like a tiny bit of like fade, just a tiny bit of fade. But I'm also breaking the hell out of it too.
Because you're breaking at what zone or what number?
Around like between 2 and 3. So I'm not breaking before 3. I'm going deep as I can.
Right.
And I've at times like I know I've kind of heard them a little bit say like, okay, you scrubbed way too much speed off this. So you want me to brake later, and I guess every time I'm braking later, I'm braking harder too. Like I've yet to actually stop the brakes.
Gotcha.
So I'm still like braking just as hard, if not harder, as I'm pressing the pedal further.
I'm pretty consistent. Like I don't know. I haven't had a problem like stabbing the brakes. This has been the best session as far as like I've been wanting to stab the gas, like coming out, or then like if he tells me to, you know, if I'm cutting the quarter too much, like he'll tell me to kind of, you know, keep it outside, and then like dummy me wants to kind of like then correct, and instead of like naturally letting the car shift outside, I want to then in a turn, if I'm going right, I want to, and I'm supposed to be on the outside, I want to turn left to then turn right again, and he's like, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I did better this go around in letting the car naturally progress to the outside zones and then come back in. But it's a learning curve. I mean,
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're adding more and more to the mix, especially like he's wanting me to brake deeper, but I'm having a downshift, brake deeper. And like on 11 is the one that just like, God, that quarter scares me.
11 is the one after the kink, or no?
Yes, right after the kink.
Okay.
Where it's hard brake and then like a sharp turn in.
That one doesn't scare. Like the one that scares me is this straightaway. I think number 1, I guess. That one's kind of scary. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's the kink that scares me. So I think I slowed too much for the kink. Then I don't have to worry about like my braking zone after the kink because I'm already scrubbed so much speed because I've let up.
Yeah.
That by the time I get to that, I'm in a good spot.
So this might be too much, but I'm gonna try blipping my throttle because I'm downshifting now. I notice like when I'm coming down from the third, yeah, it's catching. Like I'm getting my tires are like screwing.
Oh.
Yeah, like I need to rev match it.
Oh.
So
Are you able to like heel toe, or do you just
I can heel toe. I'm not like great at doing the proper heel toe.
Okay.
But on the street, I can just like quick.
That's one thing I've never learned. And are you right foot braking or left foot braking?
Right foot braking.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Because I got a downshift.
Oh, yeah, true. I don't know. I have a lot more respect for like race car drivers, honest to God, but just because they make it look so easy. I mean, it's like any professional sport. There's a reason they're pros, because they've been doing it for so long, and it's just like the repetition of doing it over and over. Because like there will be times out there where I hit my line, and like it is very rewarding, because like you can feel it, like it just feels good. So, but then when you mess up, it kind of dominoes, because it's like if you mess up, for instance, I don't know the quarter numbers, but if you mess up turn one, you know, 2, 3, and 4 follow immediately after. So if you screwed up one, then it's kind of hard to readjust. I mean, I don't linger on it, because I mean you just keep going forward, but you're in a bad spot. So then it's hard until the next lap, and you're like, all right, you know, I get a fresh, clean slate on it. But that's the tricky part, is once you make one mistake, it just compounds.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's a blast. Like, that is so much fun.
Oh my God, yeah.
And are you scared of like wrecking your car at all, or have you already gotten past that mental hurdle?
I still at times feel like when I'm going into a corner really hot, I get a little nervous about it.
Yeah.
But then I realize, like, okay, you know, I've gone in hotter and come out of it, so I just need to, you know, make sure I focus on the correct line and not avoiding disaster. Just do what I know I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
You know, and the rest follows.
Because that's one of the things where, like, I made the mistake, I think it was session 2, where we both kind of went off, where I knew ahead of time, like, the mistake that I was making, where I was coming in too hot and then trying to whip it. Like, even now, it's kind of like, all right, I know I'm coming in hotter, so like, all right, let me adjust before I get to that point where it's like, all right, let me go ahead, because I hit this corner behind me so good, I know I'm going to be carrying more speed through the straight, so let me go ahead and scrub a little bit more speed. That way, by the time I get there, I'm like adjusted and can move on. But, you know, yeah, I need a lot more. I need one of those sim rig setup things. Like, that'd be dope. But yeah. And the crazy part though is, you know, well, not that we're gonna master this track in one day, but like we get comfortable with this track. And then if, like, next time if we hit up VIR or Rockingham, like, it's going to be a whole new, it's a fresh slate, brand new, you got to learn all over. That's what Paul is definitely far superior. Honestly, like, he can fly solo. I would benefit from at least one more day, probably 2 more sessions with an instructor for sure. But
Gran Turismo, A-Spec lanes.
I'm barely catching my bronze over here. Like I might have got it, I don't know. But holy cow. But even from session 1 to now, I mean like, I started here, I ended here. I mean, it's just the amount of growth in one day over 5 sessions is unreal. Like that's probably the coolest thing to be, is just seeing, or like, you know, self-reflecting and like thinking about how timid I was at the beginning of the day to this last session. I passed somebody.
And having like a seasoned instructor with you, oh man, you can't do it without them, because the insight they provide, the tips, and just the encouragement and pushing you need it.
Oh yeah, especially because I don't know, like what lines that I thought were like proper, you know, outside to inside, that kind of thing, that works for a lot of corners, but then there's some corners that's not the proper line, you know, because it's not the proper line because of a turn ahead of that. So it's like you can do that, but then you're screwing yourself for that following turn. So I don't know, it's amazing. I highly recommend it. If you haven't done it, this is our first time, and I'm already last. It definitely will not be the last. So, yeah. Is there anything you're gonna do? Have you seen as like a weak point in your car?
You know, I feel like there's still a lot of room to go as far as being confident in how deep I can go into a corner before braking. And my instructor was telling me, you know, some advanced things I'll eventually want to work on will be trail braking, as opposed to, you know, I'm doing all my braking straight up in before I get to the corner.
Yeah.
This last go around, I was doing some heel toe, and that definitely helped a lot. So it's just kind of bringing things together and practicing more, and you know, I might want to make sure that I'll have to check my power steering, because I noticed it was kind of bubbling up a little bit on the cap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, just getting to use the car as is and getting confident with it would be the biggest thing for me.
I was happy with my platform. Like I don't think there was, obviously I want to throw more parts at it just because it's fun, you know, throw some coilovers on it just because it'll make it look better and stuff like that. But honestly, even just stocks, I mean, there's nothing really done to the car. You just have what, intake, exhaust,
tune and exhaust, and it's like a can tune. It's not even like a custom tune or anything.
Yeah, but power wise, like I feel like it was, I didn't need any more. I mean, that was just, it was perfect.
Yeah, you know, part of me wishes I could have kept up with the C8 that was coming up, but you know.
Oh yeah, there was definitely cars that were 500 plus horsepower that, I mean, like, there was just no way around it. I mean, you would see them coming and you just got to get out of the way because there's way overpowering you.
Arm out the window and let them pass.
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as even suspension wise and stuff, like I don't think the limiting factor is me. Like there's nothing on the car itself right now that would prevent me from still getting better, still progressing. You know, so I'm good with it as is. Like I might, if it's not going to overheat on a day like today, I don't think it ever will. But maybe just for peace of mind, you know, a little more cooling-ish, like address cooling a little bit. But yeah, if it survived that, we're golden.
Yeah. Key test is, are we going to make it home tonight?
Touche.
Y'all might not. I will.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have the recovery. But so far, I mean, like we haven't touched a single tool other than we've checked tire pressures all day long and checked.
The lugs were torqued at the beginning. That was it.
Yep. Torqued our lugs, and that's it. So I mean, like that's an ideal day. So I feel like that's been a success. So now if we get home, then we can really call it perfect. But so far, so good.
How much gas are you left with?
I don't know.
I have less than a quarter tank. I average 6.6 miles per gallon.
6.6?
Holy crow.
That was
You said,
yeah, 3 sessions.
dang, yeah, so you really pushed it these.
She thirsty.
3/4. So I only use a quarter tank of gas. I might not be the fastest, but I get the best gas mileage.
Yeah, if we kept going, he would have lapped me several times because I would have been.
Yeah.
I'm an endurance racer. That'll be my like little tag. I'm the endurance racer of the bunch, but not the fastest, but endurance wise, I got you. It's post race day. We did make it home safely, but by the time we made the journey, I was exhausted, didn't pick up the camera anymore. But both cars got us home perfectly, no issues. We did have the Frontier. It's kind of like a rescue vehicle, parts vehicle. That's where we loaded, just stuffed it full of tools just in case. but knock on wood, we really didn't have to touch anything other than to tighten some lugs and check air pressure throughout the day. So couldn't have asked for any more. The car itself did amazing. The limiting factor on track is me as a driver. So I know this is our first track day. It's definitely not the last. I'm gonna keep getting seat time, keep pushing myself, because I've reached nowhere near the limit of the car. I'm already looking forward to the next track day just because it was such a blast. So if you've never done a track day, I suggest, check out your local track. Where we are in North Carolina, we've got VIR to the north, which is only about an hour and a half away. Then Carolina Motorsports Park, that was a beautiful facility. That was our first time there and I absolutely loved it. And that's within 3 hours. And then I think we're gonna hit up Rockingham potentially next. That's about an hour, hour and a half away from us. So we're pretty lucky in the fact that we've got such nice facilities within a reasonable driving distance. So that's one of the things, is the car's got to get us there. No trailer and anything on this channel, so it's got to get us to the racetrack, run all day, and get us home safely. So mission accomplished. But I appreciate everybody watching. If you will, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.